Hey, Pat Rigsby here, and I'm back with part 2 of the special training that Holly and I did on blending personal and professional together successfully. We've worked together for what's been about 15 years now, and we've gone through all sorts of ups and downs and trials and tribulations and figuring out how to make sure that we were doing what we wanted and needed to do professionally, but also, carrying on, a successful, loving relationship and parenting as well. So we've broken this training that we did for our clients into 3 parts, and part 1 is already available. And today you'll get to listen in to part 2. So let's get to it. Welcome to the Fitness Business School with Pat Rigsby, the podcast for fitness entrepreneurs who want to make more income, have greater impact, and enjoy more freedom in their ideal business. If you'd like an accelerated route to these goals, email me at pat@patrigsby.com and put BGA in the subject line, and I'll get you all the details about our Business Growth Accelerator program. So all this sounds really cool, and it's 100% accurate right now, right? But pre-Alex, I don't know that to be fair, I don't know that it was nearly as two-sided, right? Like, I would ask very regularly, do you need help with things? I don't remember ever getting a whole lot of reciprocity there, right? Like, it was, Holly's got enough on her plate, so Holly's heads down, and don't bother me while I get this off my plate, right? So the reason I tell you that is no different than the planning stuff that she's talked so much about, how she was not a planner and became a planner, is I think that ultimately so much of this, it's not, hey, this is who I am and just deal with it. It's like, man, this is a choice, right? Like, we can express care for other people, or we can treat things very transactionally, whether it's, with a significant other, whether it's with clients, whether it's with prospects. We can be very transactional and say, look, I'm going to do my stuff, you take care of your stuff and whatever. Or you can, look for ways to make other people's lives better. And I will tell you, the kind of hidden silver lining or consequence with that is, without exception, it makes your life better too. So, all right, so we've talked about day-to-day self-care, but then I will also say that, some of the cliche stuff that people talk about, but I think it's true, is making time to hang out with one another. I mean, you can call it date night, you can call it whatever you want to do, but I don't think the idea as, a couple is to only cohabitate and raise kids and share chores and bills, right? Like, there should be things that you get to do, shared experiences, things where you get to spend time together, and we can talk a little bit more about it on the planning side, but it probably isn't going to happen nearly often enough if it's only happening by accident.
Yeah, and I look at it like I'm seeking out not just this once a month date night. I'm like, we're like frequency-wise, because obviously you want to take care of something with frequency. And yes, we plan things that we do together and we share together. Obviously the pandemic kind of messed with some of that stuff, but we make the most of it. And then I'm looking at, on a day-to-day basis, I look at it as an invitation. Hey, I'm going to go for a walk. You want to come with me? Or I'm running to the store. You want to come with me? And I think right at this point, Alex is old enough to where if we want to go for a walk together, it's 20 minutes. It's alone time with him. It's something that we can walk and talk. So I think it's more of also finding the pockets of those shared experiences rather than waiting until this one-time event and checking it off as, oh, my to-do, I'm done. So I think the nurturing part of that comes with frequency.
Yeah, I think that's probably the part that gets overlooked. Everybody that talks about relationship stuff or blending personal with professional and business will allude to date nights. and have scheduled date nights. But I mean, it's like your client coming to the gym 3 times a week and working out and expecting to get a result. Well, it's a lot of that other 165 behavior, right? So what are the things that you're doing in between these experiential date nights or weekend getaways or whatever else that I think probably matter more?
Yeah.
That work? We cover all that? All right. So let's talk about care of family and close relationships. I'm going to go a little quicker just because I know we're talking a long time about some of this stuff, but that's okay because this other stuff we spend more time on the weekly basis, right?
Yeah.
So one of the things I think we do very proactively as a family is we schedule a lot of vacations, a lot of trips. Pre-pandemic, heck, we would go to Disney 8 or 9 times a year, right? And we've already, you're watching this because we're with Alex in Florida doing kind of a working vacation. And then in May, we'll do something once Tyler's out of school, we'll go back because we got to make sure that Tyler's all taken care of too. We just couldn't hijack him from school. And then in June, we'll go to a beach house in the Outer Banks, and we'll do some of these things to just make sure that we're blocking it off in advance so we don't just drift. And we have to probably be even more proactive about that than most people because, Tyler's my stepson. We've been together since he's been 2, and I would say our relationship is every bit as close as, me and Alex's relationship. But the other dynamic is, he has to go spend time with his dad. He has to really make sure they're spending time together and having their relationship as well. So we have to navigate the logistics of that. And so it takes some pre-planning to make sure that everybody's getting to do the things that they're going to do together. Like if they're going to go on trips or whatever else, we have to work around that. So I think we do a pretty proactive job about that. We spend a good amount of time doing things together that, smaller kind of experiential things. Like you'll watch a TV series that, like, Tyler wants to be a screenwriter and he's so passionate about film or TV and those sorts of things. So you'll watch that stuff with him very consistently. Like there's a routine, and he's a very routine guy, right? Like very regimented. He and I will go play one-on-one basketball, or the 3 boys, we'll play basketball together, or we'll go out and hit baseball together. Tyler actually, for the first time ever, was my training partner during the holidays. So, we'll find things to do that way. We'll go to the movies together. I think we're pretty fortunate in the fact that, we've got 2 kids who don't try to avoid being around us in that sort of environment. Like pre-pandemic, not only would they go to the movies with us, but they would recommend it. Like they would be saying, let's go do this, right? So that's not something I take for granted because I don't have any recollection of ever going anywhere in that sort of environment with my parents in my teenage years or whatever else. So, so anything you want to weave in there?
I think just being aware of what is interesting to our boys, and then also teaching that it's about negotiation, because sometimes we need to be a part of an experience, especially like Disney is an example. Going to the places that Tyler loves and then going to the places that Alex loves are kind of different because of the age difference, but that kind of teaches us that, no, we get to experience this together. You're going to get your turn to do this as well. So kind of teaching that and modeling that and finding the enjoyment of just being together, even though this is not the most fun thing you might have wanted to do, I think is a good experience for all of us as a family. It's kind of this blended experience that there's this give and take, and as long as we're sharing it all together as a family is what the important takeaway is, because we're making memories.
Yeah, and I think, as they've grown, we've tried to also, Tyler's a teenager, right? He'd want to sleep in. Alex would want to go to the pool at 9 a.m. So, Holly might stay like she may go on a walk, or she may stay in the room and get a little bit of work done or something, hang out on the balcony, and Tyler's crashing and I'm taking Alex to the pool, or, we'll try to find that balance between making sure that we're all doing things together, but then also making sure that, everybody's having kind of their own experience. Because admittedly, Alex is the one who would more proactively, say, let's do this. And Tyler's a guy who will probably go along for the ride a little bit easier. So sometimes I think we have to be more proactive in making sure that Tyler gets out of these experiences the things that he wants, because obviously we're trying to create something where he's excited to go about to the next thing, not just tolerant of it. The other side of the family stuff, I think, is just making sure that, the grander experiences are great, and I think that's been huge for us to be able to go and do those sorts of things. But, just being close together. Tyler, we would collectively watch TV shows or movies most every night when Tyler's home. And then when we're done with that, he'll go play a video game with friends or whatever else. But just trying to be present and not let, work drift into everything, right? Not let work just have this creep that doesn't ever end, right? Because my experience with this, and mind you, I've been both ways, is that, work, if you can't get it done in 8 or 10 hours a day, then you're probably, if you're not in a startup phase, then you working 15 hours a day isn't going to be a long-term solution. There's certain instances, like when you're building out a facility or when you're ramping something up or whatever else, that you got to kind of put things in overdrive. But by and large, you have to control your time. And we talk a lot about the planning stuff, especially what Holly shares. But, I think I know for me, it started way back when Tyler was little, and he'd go to his dad's on most weekends. So I would double down and do extra work then, so I would be available, after school to spend time with him and do stuff. But I know, part of my goal with my business, I don't really have any aspiration or thought that either of them would follow in my footsteps and do what I do, right? But I do want to model this idea that professional success and personal happiness and being able to be present with a family, these are not mutually exclusive things, that you don't have to give up one for the other. Because you have no idea, how many mastermind meetings I go to or big events I go to where I see these people who are internet famous and well-known and probably make a ton of money, and they've got just scorched earth with relationships and kids and everything else in the background. I would say it is whatever the divorce numbers are for the average, for the average person, it has to be, 200% worse for the entrepreneurial kind of crowd. And so making sure that they know that, hey, you can do these things and you don't have to settle on one side to be okay on the other. That's probably as big a driver as I have professionally in total. So let's talk about just making sure that we, the close relationships, extended family, that sort of stuff, briefly, and then we'll get into client and prospect. So, I mean, we have kind of a unique situation, I think, socially. We both, like, neither of us are from Louisville. We don't really have family in Louisville. We, don't laugh. And the nature of our career is such that, we don't go to a workplace and spend time with a bunch of other people. So most of our relationships, the people we want to spend time with, just socially, they're not here, right? Like it's, we have people that we enjoy here that, we'll engage with through the activities the kids have been involved with or whatever else. But I think we do a pretty good job of proactively making time for other people we'll schedule vacations with the Ramies. You have something later this month where your sister's coming down to hang out and you guys spend some time together. And I don't think that I was great about that when I was starting my business. And, I'll give myself a little bit of a pass in that anytime you're starting something, the rules kind of are different. But if you're behaving like a startup 5, 6, 7, 8 years in, you're doing it wrong. And I think we're much better about that now, making sure that we're carving out a little bit of time for those other people, especially because most of them, they don't play by the same business rule, right? They've got normal 9-to-5 jobs. They've got, their own set of responsibilities. And so I think that we proactively try to facilitate those relationships, even though the dynamic probably isn't the norm, right? Like it's not, hey, we're going to a cookout with our next door neighbor type of thing.
No, and I think because especially this past year, it really has emphasized that we do a really good job of nurturing our relationships with our friends that don't live here because we only have had to do it online. It's through text or FaceTime or phone calls. That's how it just is because of the distance between us. So it's just a matter of paying attention to that, having those touch points with them and checking in with them and being able to share, checking in to see how they're doing and being able to share different things that are going on in our lives and then looking forward to shared experiences with them as well.
I know. So Paula doesn't want me to slouch over when I'm looking at the index card. Yeah. None of this is rocket science, right? But I think the kind of moral of the story, whether it be spending time with a significant other, doing stuff with your children, if you have children, spending time with extended family or spending time with close friends is, as a business owner, I think we have to be more diligent about being proactive because it just doesn't lend itself to being as organic because the business stuff can just creep into everything. The last thing I'll mention about that is I had to catch myself early on where, I'd be talking to close friends and I was excited about the business stuff and I'd just talk about it. And it's like, man, that ain't their thing, right? So I snapped out of that pretty quick, but I can look back and think, man, this was just bad. Like that's not any relationship. There's that give and take and shared experiences and everything else. And so making sure that when you're spending time with those other people you care about, not just to sound like a commercial for your business is probably an important thing, right? All right, so blending personal and professional, we'll talk very briefly about this piece of it, this client and prospect part. I think something that's helped us tremendously over the years is, I feel pretty comfortable saying our clients know that we care about them. The people that we work with know that we care about them. There's nothing transactional about those relationships. And in fact, the people that I don't enjoy in business see, that client or that customer, that member is like a dollar sign on their forehead, right? And it's all transaction. And I mean, I think that, I'm just as interested in somebody's personal side as I am their professional side. I mean, we can't spend as much time on that because they've hired me to help them achieve a professional goal, but that doesn't mean I'm not interested, right, in it. And so I want to make sure that, that shows through. And I think that's part of the reason why we've had good retention. I mean, I know that I've got a few people that have been with me since 2007, 2008, that still are around doing stuff, and I know that you had that same experience. So this kind of making care a priority, if you're trying to build a great business that allows you to have personal and professional success, one of the easy ways to do it is probably not always having to chase new people. And so if you want to keep people around, I mean, they have to know that you care about them. So anything you want to share on that?
Yeah, I think a big part of that care is that, and going into relationship building, is that you're sharing stuff about your own personal life and the things, especially the struggles and the things that you overcome. Because the more that they can see you as human, the more connected they feel to you. And I think that's one of the keys to having those loyal, raving fans that stick with you for years. Because they feel like they're a part of your journey as well. And they know that they're being well taken care of because of that.
Yeah, so I think that, I think we're speaking to the right people here. You guys get it. But again, I would encourage you not to drift on it and just take it for granted. I would be proactive in saying, how can I make sure that my clients know I care about them as human beings, not just as people pursuing some sort of fitness or performance goal or whatever else. And then the last thing I'll mention on the care side of it is just, I know for me, and one of the things that's probably helped me a ton, and I'm going to throw my dear wife under the bus a little bit, is I think of the people who are my prospective clients, like on the email list or whatever else, as still, people I care about their success. They've given me their time and attention. Sure, maybe they're not paying clients. Maybe they're not on Zooms or connecting with us, coming to the in-person events when we hopefully can have them very, very soon. But, I'm very respectful of the fact that if you give me your time and attention, that is, that time is something you don't get back. So I need to be careful and make sure that I'm valuing it appropriately. And I would say that's probably been one of my biggest differentiators as a business owner from the majority of people that see a list as, a database that has some dollar signs attached to it, or, people that if they don't act by a certain point, they aren't a fit or they're not interested or whatever else. And I think that's helped me a ton. And it's made my business, honestly, a lot easier to run because it continually kind of fills the pipeline and keeps the business moving. And I don't have to do a whole lot different to do it. So it makes my life easier. It lowers stress. So I don't know if there's anything you want to add to that side of it.
You said you were going to throw me under the bus. I was waiting for it.
Well, I don't think that you've ever viewed your email list with that same sort of
that's a different perspective. And I see, like when you said that makes it a lot easier to view them differently. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and I think that, I don't think most people do. I think the way you view it is the way that a lot of people do, right? Like they're trying to move them to,
it's like this fight.
Hey, come over here where I can care about you, right? And instead, I think of it as like, well, if I show you I care about you some, then maybe you'll come and hang out with us more and we'll have a better relationship. And I think I had an advantage over Holly over most anybody else, coming from a college baseball world, when I was recruiting, I mean, that's how you get a recruit to sign, right? Like, that's how you get a recruit in, is you have to show them that you're interested in them and you care about them so that they feel comfortable and confident. And as importantly, their parents feel comfortable and confident. So that was just kind of my default way of operating when I transplanted it to business. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Fitness Business School. And before you go, I have a quick announcement. When I first connect with a fitness business owner, they almost always ask me, how can I get more leads or how can I get more clients? Well, I have an exclusive offer for you, and it's going to help you do just that. As a listener of this show, you can test drive Fitness Lead Academy for 6 full weeks for just $1. Fitness Lead Academy is a one-of-a-kind program where you get done-for-you marketing tools and coaching to attract more qualified prospects and to convert them into paying clients. Imagine having 3 marketing emails written for you each and every week, 4 easy-to-deploy promotions provided to you that are proven to convert and they're ready to use, and proven ads and social media posts given to you each and every month as well. Plus, you have access to 3 weekly live video coaching sessions to help you with everything from dialing in your brand to navigating things like building funnels and getting ads approved. You get all of this and more when you join Fitness Lead Academy. And to prove that FLA can serve you as your virtual marketing department and not only save you plenty of time, but also consistently bring you more leads and clients, you can get access to the entire coaching program for 6 full weeks, again, for just $1. If it delivers for you in the way that I expect it will, you can continue on for just $199 a month. So basically, just 1 additional client each month and you're ROI positive. And I'm sure that if you apply what we give you, you're gonna get more than just 1 additional client each month, and you're gonna likely save at least 10 hours a month of work too. To take advantage of this special offer, just go to testdrivefla.com. Try it out for 6 full weeks. If it's not what you're looking for, you can cancel at any time. Just go to testdrivefla.com to get started.